Hey everybody, today I have the Ibanez Pentatone Preamp pedal. Is it a buy or is it a bail? Stay tuned. Hey everybody, I'm Neale. Welcome to the Riff Room. If you love heavy riffs, real-world guitar gear, and honest reviews, you've come to the right place. Subscribe, let's make some noise. The Ibanez Pentatone is a preamp pedal that features 5 distinct sections. You have a pre-boost, which you can switch on or off, a 2-band EQ, which affects the distortion itself, so a treble and bass. You have a built-in noise gate, that's also switchable. You have a 5-band parametric EQ, you guessed it, switchable, and a post boost, also switchable, and that just basically controls your overall level. So on the front of the pedal, we have a foot switch to either basically turn the pedal on and off, it's your bypass switch, and then the post boost, it's basically the level boost, that is also foot switchable. Now on top, there's the option for a TRS cable, an external foot switch that's going to allow you to have the pre-boost foot switchable, as well as the 5-band parametric EQ. Super cool. Now, while this is approximately double the size of your typical pedal board housing, it packs a lot in there. So again, pre-boost, noise gate, 5-band EQ, post boost, as well as distortion. We also have a brightness switch, which comes in super handy when you're using it how I've been using it, which is just running it directly into my DAW using IRs. Again, probably the biggest gripe with distortions is when you try and do that, it'll always sound dark or a bit muffled, so having something that really boosts those highs is a must. So my overall impression of the Pentatone was fairly positive. I did try running it through my MT15 through the effects loop. Didn't really get great results with that. I had decent results running it into my DAW, as you've heard, using third-party IRs. However, I typically rely on my plugins when I want to just EQ the guitars a little bit just to make it sit in the mix a bit better. I'm pretty content with my typical 3-band EQ, bass, mids, trebles. Maybe having the ability to tweak the highs a bit more is benefit, but I think that this is just a bit overkill for me. And that's not a fault of the pedal. That's 100% a me issue, and I absolutely recognize that. I really prefer simple, straightforward gear that I don't get lost in the minutia. Part of the reason why I've kind of started using these preamp pedals is to have physical hardware to tweak instead of having to dive into those menus and the plugins and the amp sims and Helix and you name it. I've just kind of spent so much time doing that, and it seems like, you know, the longer you're in there tweaking everything, the more your ears get fatigued. It's just exhausting, right? I want something I can plug in and it sounds good pretty much right off the bat. And that's definitely the case here. However, I think to get the best out of this, you really need to spend some time with it. And again, I'm somebody, I just prefer to plug in, spend, a couple minutes with it, and I'm happy. So I will not be keeping this pedal. That's not a fault of the pedal. Again, that's a me issue. If you're somebody who's more technical than my caveman brain affords, I think you'll love this pedal. But let's get into the sounds. All right, so what I want to do now is run through each aspect of the pentatone. You can kind of hear the adjustments in real time, okay? So what I'm going to do is we're going to start with everything at noon, the EQ off, the pre-boost off, the post-boost off, and the bright switch off. And I'm going to slowly add more and more to it. I will keep the noise gate on, however. So, as we can see, everything's at noon. Not great, sounds a bit muffled, okay? I also want to mention I am using some of the York Audio DV77 IRs. They're super attainable, relatively inexpensive, okay? So let's switch on that brightness switch. So lightens it up a little bit, obviously makes those highs jump out a bit. Now with what I'm doing, running a preamp direct into an IR, having that brightness ability is super, super convenient. You know, you'll notice a lot of preamps and distortions when you try and run it direct in, they're gonna sound really dark. This one, we can definitely mitigate that, okay? But let's go through, what I'm gonna do is I'll go through the 2-band EQ with the distortion as well as the gain. So let's get started. This has a ridiculous amount of bottom end on tap. And here's the gain. So we'll keep everything at noon, and now what I'm going to do is add the pre-boost in. Set everything back at noon. So what I'm going to do now for the 5-band parametric EQ is I'm basically going to max out each band independently and then just quickly run through the sweep. That way you can kind of hear the frequencies that it's able to target. It sounds so bad. So Now, if you're still with me after all of that, what I want to do is I'm going to dial in the 5-band EQ to taste, and we'll just go from there and then check out the post boost as well. All right, so everything's back on noon. I'm gonna kick on that post boost. It's gonna boost up the level a bunch. It might clip, but we're just kind of gonna check that out, okay? So that was the Ibanez Pentatone. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, a little bit more pedal than what I need. I'm very much a fan of keeping things simple, especially keeping interfaces simple. You know, comparing this pedal to the Apex preamp, the tonal possibilities with this are unmatched as far as what I've used with preamps. However, again, with the Apex, I had a 3-band EQ. I way preferred that. If you're somebody who loves to dive into the minutia and kind of dial in or out those little frequencies, but would want a piece of hardware to do it on, then look no further. I'm somebody, I'd much rather dial in my amp or my pedal to taste, and if there's little frequencies that clash in the mix, I'm just gonna use a third-party EQ, man. Not a big deal, right? I got plugins. But hey, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Neale, this is The Riff Room. If you love this kind of content, please subscribe. Plenty more to come. Thanks.